Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. Today we get ultra powered Intel CPUs. This mining GPU has what? AMD's GPUs crush Nvidia at this, AMD takes the world record on air, and Nvidia's new monster GPU is already shipping, plus tons of new variants incoming. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, it looks like Silicon Lottery is now offering Intel's newest 11900K and 11600K. For those who don't know, Silicon Lottery essentially sells bin CPUs with guaranteed frequencies at certain voltages, and they're now offering a couple of Intel's new Rocket Lake CPUs. According to video cards, they don't offer the 11700K because it's basically a pre-binned 8-core CPU that wasn't good enough for an 11900K already, so it makes sense. As you can see, they offer the 11600K with 5 GHz set up to 6 cores or 5.1 up to 2 cores, and that comes in at $339. Then there's the 11900K with the top end model reaching 5.1 GHz up to 8 cores and 5.2 GHz up to 4. But that'll run you a whopping $879. At the end of the day, I'm still pretty disappointed in Intel's newest CPUs. Then again, they are still on 14 nanometers. And in honor of that, I've re-released the 14 nanometer ++++ infinity mugs. That's right, keep your coffee hot for hours, though not as hot as Intel keeps their CPUs. And now with the new enamel mug, you can show off without fear of breaking it like Intel broke the hearts of gamers everywhere with 11th gen. Get your mug before Intel finally goes 10 nanometers at store.gamermeld.com. Next up for today, you're not going to believe this. While Gigabyte recently released the first CMP30HX card, which is one of Nvidia's newest crypto mining cards, a Zeus's variant was just spotted, and it comes with RGB lighting. That's right, the card doesn't have any display outputs, but it still has RGB. So maybe miners can put on a light show while their rig is going? I have no clue. And yes, it is essentially brought over from their GTX 1660 Super Dual Evo, but they didn't have to use the LED, yet here you can see the renders show an RGB LED is on. Really, I don't even know what to make of it. Mining is all about using the least amount of power, and while LEDs don't use much, it's still a really weird design choice. Next up, we have a really interesting comparison between Nvidia and AMD GPUs. In a new post from Chips and Cheese, they actually created a program in OpenCL that measures both cache and memory latency in a GPU. For those who don't know, similar to CPUs, GPUs have slowly added a cache hierarchy to handle the gap between computations and memory speed. Both AMD and Nvidia have these different levels of cache, but their architectures do it a bit differently. So Chips and Cheese compared an RX 6800 XT to an RTX 3090, and the results are pretty wild. As you can see, AMD's RDNA 2 architecture completely crushes Ampere with significantly lower cache latency. What's wild is that their VRAM latency is almost identical, even though AMD has to check 2 more levels of cache on the way. According to Chips and Cheese, this could explain why AMD tends to do better than Nvidia at lower resolutions. Next up for today, AMD just took the world record in Cinebench R23. In a new video on AMD's official YouTube channel, the company took the record with their new epic 7763 CPUs in a dual configuration. What's wild is that it achieved the world record with just server air cooling.
Unfortunately, none of that stuff. It's just a pure old boring air-cooled solution.
As for the record itself, the dual CPUs crushed the benchmark in seconds and scored a whopping 113,631 points. For comparison, a dual system with Intel's brand new Ice Lake Xeon 8380s only scored 74,630 points. Of course, the Xeon 8380s have far fewer cores, but remember that AMD's 7763 CPU is actually cheaper at $7,890 compared to the 8380 at $8,100. Basically, AMD is killing it in the server space in both performance and price. And lastly for today, it looks like Nvidia is gearing up for a new monster GPU release, along with new GPU variants that include Nvidia's hash rate limiter. The first part of the story originally comes from a Facebook post that shows shipping containers from MSI set to deliver to Los Angeles. The interesting part here is that one box contains MSI RTX 3080 Ti Ventus 3X OC variants, meaning manufacturers are already shipping RTX 3080 Ti's to distributors, so the release is imminent. Oh, and this shows that it comes with 12 GB of VRAM, which is definitely the final version. The second part of the story comes from Igor's lab, who claims that multiple contacts confirmed Nvidia delivered new RTX 3080 Ti chips set for mass production. Now, that's obviously more proof that the card is right around the corner, but it doesn't stop there. The new samples actually come with Nvidia's hash rate limiter, so the company isn't done trying to push back against miners buying cards made for gamers. Not only that, but leaker Kopite7Kimi also tweeted out looks to be confirmation that Nvidia is set to release new variants of the GA102 and GA104 with a hash rate limiter. Remember that this is shortly after we found out that Nvidia is planning a new version of their 3060 after royally screwing up its limiter by releasing a driver that essentially doesn't have it. This update means Nvidia is set to release all of their cards with Ethereum limiters to try and stop miners from buying gaming GPUs. According to video cards, the new variants are set to be released in May. Of course, whether Nvidia can actually make them work this time is still up in the air. So while that does it for today, are you excited for Nvidia's upcoming RTX 3080 Ti, or are you just hopeful in those Ethereum limited cards? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please subscribe. And as always, have a great day.